First was Brittany Smith. Raise your right hand up, ma'am. Please solemnly swear the testimony about your report in this matter of State versus Jamie Donnell Hood to be the truth, the whole truth, and no truth of you God.
Yes, sir.
Would you state your name for the jury, please, and spell your first name?
Brittany Smith, Brittany.
Ma'am, how old are you?
26.
And what is your date of birth?
12/28/1988.
You can sit back just a little. You don't have to. There you go. Sit back. Okay. And ma'am, do you live there in Athens at this time?
Yes, sir.
And did you grow up here in Athens?
Yes, sir.
And what high school did you go to, ma'am?
Clark Central.
And when did you graduate from Clark Central High School?
In 2007.
And after going to Clark Central High School, did you wind up going to some training after that, some other kind of college training?
Yes, sir.
Where did you go?
Athens Tech.
And when you first went to Athens Tech, what were you studying at that time, ma'am?
Early childhood education.
And ma'am, after that, did you wind up getting other educational training in another field at a different location?
Yes, sir. New Horizons in London.
And what training was that, ma'am?
Medical assistant program.
And do you have any kind of background and certifications in that area?
Yes, sir. I got phlebotomy, EKG, and CNA.
And CNA is Certified Nurse Assistant?
Yes, sir.
And are you working now, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Where are you working?
At the Oaks Nursing Home.
And what do you do at the Oaks Nursing Home?
I'm a CNA.
And actually, when did you start at the Oaks Nursing Home?
I started today.
Today's your first day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you working anywhere else, or did you work anywhere else?
Yes, I work at ACT Home Care.
You still work there?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been working at ACT Home Care, ma'am?
Since September.
Last year?
Yes, sir. 2014.
What do you do for them?
I'm a CNA as well with them.
And you're still working there in addition to working at the Oaks?
Yes, sir.
What is the Oaks?
It's a nursing home.
Where is it located?
Off Capwood.
Ma'am, do you know a person by the name of Ruby Jordan?
That's my aunt.
And how was she your aunt? Can you tell us?
My mother's sister.
Your mother's sister?
Yes, sir.
And if you will, did you know her son, Omari Ray, before his death?
That was my first cousin.
And was he older than you?
Yes, sir.
And at the time of his death, how old was he and how old were you?
I was 22 when he was 30.
And the day of his death?
12/28/2010.
That was your birthday?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall that particular day?
Yes, sir. I had went there to eat dinner with my auntie. And once I had left, she had called and told us that something had happened to Elmer.
And you went to
Nottingham.
get your dinner with your auntie, is that Ms. Jordan?
Yes, sir. And my cousin Elmer was there at the time.
About what time did you get there, ma'am?
It was about maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Do you know the exact time at all?
Not the exact, because it was so long ago.
And at the time you got over there, do you remember it being dark at all?
Yes, it was dark.
And when you got there, you said Omari was there?
Yes, sir, he was.
And what did you do when you got there, ma'am?
When I got there, I had went in the room and told him I was there. And after I had ate, me and Omari had discussed that we were going to have drinks at Applebee's that night.
And when were y'all going to go have drinks at Applebee's?
For my birthday.
And were you there very long at all at the residence?
No more than 30 minutes.
And you wound up leaving?
Yes, sir.
Did you leave by yourself?
Yes, sir.
And when you left, was Omari there?
Yes, sir. He was there when I left.
Was your aunt there?
Yes, sir.
And after you left, where did you go, ma'am?
I went to my mother's house in Forest Heights.
Was that across Oglethorpe, down the road just a little bit?
Yes, sir.
And you said your aunt called you and told you what?
She had called my mom and told my mom that something was going on with Omari.
Did she say what at all?
She was kind of hysterical, so it was hard to hear what she was saying.
And that call, do you know about how long it was after you left that call came in?
After I ended up at my aunt's house,
Yes, ma'am.
maybe 30 minutes to an hour.
And ma'am, after getting that call, what did you do?
Me and my aunt had rushed to Nottingham, but by the time we got there, the emergency services were there.
The ambulance was there?
Yes, sir.
And when you got there, in addition to the ambulance, what did you see?
He was on the stretcher, leaving the yard.
And at that time, what did you do?
I mean, cried. What else did I do? It was on my birthday, my first cousin.
Did you stay there at Nottingham?
Yes, I stayed till everybody left.
And then where did you go?
We went to the hospital, the Athens room.
And how about your aunt, Miss Jordan?
She went with the detective to the hospital as well.
And when you got to the hospital, did you learn that Omari was deceased?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, did Omari have a funeral after that?
Yes, sir, he did.
This day in December of 2010, did you know of Jamie Hood?
I never know who he was.
Did you know of him at all? Or
No, sir.
And thinking back to his funeral, do you recall seeing him at the funeral?
He was so long ago, but yes, I do recall seeing him. He was with a group of guys.
Jadon Brooks, did you know Jadon Brooks?
Yes.
And how did you know him?
He was good friends with Omari.
Ma'am, let me go back to that December, that Christmas right before this happened. Do you recall whether it was snowing?
It was snowing.
And do you remember it snowing after the New Year at all?
And I don't remember all that.
How were you able to remember that it was snowing on Christmas?
Because it was the last Christmas we had with us, and I remember how the weather was.
Thank you, ma'am.
After this here, that's name, ma'am?
Yes.
No, ma'am. Oh. Did you talk to Officer Johnson the night Omar was shot, ma'am? You recall talking to Officer Johnson that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Isn't it true that you told Officer Johnson that you seen a red and colored suspicious ball?
I don't remember what I seen. I didn't think I don't know who was home with him.
Okay. So you don't recall getting a statement saying that after you was leaving, you observed a suspicious.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Is it possible that you were going through so much you just forgot what you told the police, ma'am?
I forgot.
But is it possible that you said it, ma'am?
I don't recall saying that. I don't know what I think.
Ma'am. Just brief. Yes. Miss Smith, when you left, did you see that car right there?
It was night. I couldn't see. So no, I couldn't see that car.
What, you didn't see this particular car?
I don't know what I seen when I left it. I don't recall, period.
That's what it's called. Okay. Now, ma'am, you just stated you saw me at a funeral with a group of guys. Do you know who the guys I was with, ma'am?
Yes, I do remember. It was Ken Campbell them. I do remember.
It is the truth that me and Campbell, we sit in the church together. We sit in the church together, didn't we? Me and Ken, we sit together at
I seen you at the end when it was time to walk out.
Okay, it was time to walk out. Okay, now, was I a pallbearer for Visual Monterey?
During that time when the casket was leaving out, I was crying, so I can't tell you that. So I'm not sure.
So did you if I had been a pallbearer, that would have stuck out like a sore thumb or something. You would have noted that I'm one of the guys who carried the man's casket.
No, because I wouldn't think nobody would kill him who would carry his casket, so no.
Did you see me doing the thing?
How can I remember? I don't remember that part. No, I don't remember that.
So when you just said that you remember me saying in the church, you said you can't remember, but you remember saying me in the
I think went to church at the end, but as far as carrying the casket, I'm not sure because I was not paying attention during that time.
Okay. But you were paying attention to being in the church, right?
Yeah, at the end. I mean, like at glance, I found you.
Okay.
But I didn't know who you were though.
Okay. So, did you go, when they put Omar in the ground, did you go there like?
Yeah, but I didn't go up there. I was kind of at the car. I was not with everybody else.
Okay. So, is it safe to say you didn't see me there?
I can't, not there because I was not in the group with the group there.
No, I'm talking about, ma'am, what you say, I don't know where you were, ma'am, but did you see me when you was there, when they were putting it in the ground, ma'am?
No, I didn't see you there because I mean, how could I see you? I don't know who you was, man. There was a lot of people out there.
But if you didn't know who I was, how did you?
Okay, if the question is, do I remember saying you didn't know? That's the other answer.
No, what?
No, sir. Calling next witness.
Gregory Barnett.
Gregory Barnett.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear the testimony about the report in this matter, State versus Jamie Donnell Hood, will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Would you just have a seat, please, sir? Sit up and kind of pull up. You put your face close to the mic, but just
Okay.
speak in that direction.
All right.
Tell the jury your name, please, sir.
My name is Gregory Barnett.
And Mr. Barnett, how old are you?
I am 56, I believe.
And do you live here in this Athens area, sir?
I presently live at 414 Benny Street. I used to live at 356 Nottingham Drive.
Yes, sir. How long have you lived off Benning Street?
I just moved in October last year.
And 356 Nottingham Drive, how long did you live there before you moved?
I believe about 15 years.
What kind of residence was that, sir?
That was a house, a residential.
Now, let me go back. Did you grow up here in Athens?
I did indeed.
And what high school did you go to,
So
sir?
to Clark Central.
And did you graduate from Clark Central, sir?
Yes, sir, I did.
And tell us when you graduated.
I graduated in 1977 and went on to Fort Valley State University. So I graduated in 1981.
And what was your degree from Fort Valley State, sir?
Social service.
And where are you employed at this time?
Presently at the University of Georgia.
And what do you do at the University of Georgia?
I work in parking service. Been there for 21 years.
Yes, sir. Now, let me go back, if I can, to December the 28th, 2010. You were living in Nottingham at that particular time, sir?
Yes, sir.
And let me ask you, prior to that date, did you know Ruby Jordan, who turned out to be your next door neighbor?
I did know Ruby.
How did you know her?
We went to school together.
And high school together?
Yes, sir.
And did you play sports? You played sport in high school?
Right, we played basketball.
Okay. And on December 28, 2010, until the events of that day, did you realize that she was living next door to you at all?
I did not.
How long had she been living there at that time? Do you know?
I think about 3 or 4 months, I'm not sure.
Yes. And let me show you, if I can, sir, what's been introduced as State's Exhibit number 925. You recognize that residence is mainly in the picture there, sir?
Yes, sir.
And that residence is in the picture that has the driveway and the 2 cars recognize whether that's where Ms. Jordan was living at that time?
Yes, sir.
And the house next door to that I have the pointer on there, whose house was that?
That is where I live. I used to live.
Yes, sir. Let me ask you, if I can, sir, on December the 28th, 2010, that evening about 8:30, were you at home that evening?
I believe I was.
And who were you living with at that time?
I had an older brother living with me at that time.
And is he now deceased?
Yes, sir, he is.
And at that time, do you remember about 8:30 what you were doing and what was going on?
I was living between seasons, so I was looking at basketball and football, which is about all I look at on TV anyway, sports. So I was laying on the bed looking at basketball and football games.
In your bedroom?
Yes, sir.
And tell us basically while you were in your bedroom, what happened and what you heard.
Well, while switching back and forth between basketball and football game, I heard a loud noise. It was so loud it knocked out my bed. I didn't know if it was someone running into a house, or I didn't know what it was exactly. So it knocked me off the bed, it did indeed. So when I looked out the window, and I seen someone running out the gate. I couldn't identify anyone, I just seen someone running.
Which gate was that, sir?
That was out the Miss Jordan gate.
Let me show you State's Exhibit 925. There's a laser pointer in front of you.
Okay.
Which gate was that, sir?
Point up there.
Yeah.
Check.
Where?
First section, show.
This gate right here, sir.
In this particular photo, is your window in there at all? In that photo?
Right there.
Is that the window you looked out of?
Yes, sir.
And that person was running from where and in which direction?
He came out of that gate, ran out the driveway.
Okay. And as looking out the window and seeing that, after hearing that sound, what did you do?
Well, I paused a minute. I was a little afraid to go outside because I didn't quite know what it was. So I waited a few minutes and I went to my front door and looked. It was pretty dark and nobody was out there. So I just still waited. I was a little scared to go out. I didn't know what it was. But after a few minutes, I got enough nerve and said, let me go over and ask this lady what that sound was. So I finally went over and knocked on that door. Well, as I headed over to knock on the door, I seen a body laying up on the right side. And apparently that was Mr. Ray. And at that time, I think was another guy also had arrived at the same time. He actually bent over to look at Mr. Ray. I think at that time I was trying to dial 911 or something. So I came back out to the street, and at that time I was dialing 911, and a cop who was at the YMCA, who had also heard that sound, he approached at that time that I was dialing 911.
Okay. And what happened then?
Well, I told him that there was a guy laying over there had been shot, and he got out, and well, he radioed somebody, and he got out and ran over to assist Mr. Ray.
Mr. Barnett, let's go back, if I can, to the sound that you heard that kind of knocked you off your bed there. What did that sound like, if you can say, sir?
A big boom, I didn't know it was something hit the house or what. I mean, I really didn't know what it was. Thought somebody trying to break into the house. I really didn't know what the sound was.
And as you looked out and saw that figure running out that gate, at that time, could you tell basically anything about that figure at all? Whether it was a man or a woman, whether it was what description they had, or what they might be wearing from your vantage point?
I believe they had on a hoodie, and while I couldn't see a face, I pretty much could have sworn it was a male. I think it was a female, but I didn't see any face of anything.
And at that time, after coming outside, you saw the body laying there beside the carport, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you go over to to where that body was at that point?
Well, no, the other guy who was with me did. I did not want to see him, really. I think I told you that. I didn't want to see the guy shot at. And so I think I was trying to dial 911 as I went back out to the street. And a cop approached me at that time.
Sir, let me show you what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 930. You see in that area about where you were called, the body was laying at the time?
Somewhere around in this area here.
Just to the right of the carport and car that's parked there?
Yes, sir.
Sir, did you speak to the police officer that night?
The one that pulled up, I just told him that someone had been shot. I've been there about all.
Did you see Ms. Jordan at all at some point that night?
Well, when I went through the door, she came out, and I guess when she seen Mr. Ray, and she, I think she kind of got apart at that time.
When you went up to that door, was that before or after the police? You saw the police?
I believe it was before the police. Before the police got there, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Barnett.
How you doing, Mr. Barnett?
Hey, Mr. Hood.
All right, yes, sir. Mr. Barnett, I would like for you to look at defendant exhibit 1, sir. Mr. Barnett, the night you looked out your window, did you see that car right there?
I can't tell you, sir. I don't recall.
You never called that car there?
No, sir.
Never seen that car? Did you see anybody shooting out the car?
Did I see anybody shoot out the car? No, sir, I did not.
So you recall seeing that particular car right there that night, sir?
It might have been there, but I do not recall.
Okay, you said you talked to the police.
No, I just told him that a body was laying over there.
Did you tell the police you seen that Cadillac in that yellow?
No, I did not.
Did you ever put anywhere a report or anything about the Cadillac?
No, sir.
How about me, sir? Did you see me?
No, sir.
No problem.
No, Your Honor, can you see?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Michael Howington? Raise your right hand, please, sir. You solemnly swear the testimony about to give the report in this matter of State versus Jamie Donnell Hood will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but truth, self to God.
Yes, sir.
Have a seat. Would you state your name for the jury, please?
Billy Michael Howington II.
And you go by Michael Howington or Mike Howington?
Yes, sir.
And how old are you, sir?
39.
Where do you currently live?
Leesburg, Florida.
And how long have you been living in Leesburg, Florida?
Roughly 2.5 years.
And what do you do down in Leesburg, Florida?
I own a car wash, oil change, detail mechanic shop.
And what took you to Leesburg, Florida?
Chance to own my own business.
And do you have any relatives that live down that
I
way?
have a father
And prior to living in Leesburg, where did you live?
at Athens, Georgia.
And did you grow up here in Athens?
All my life.
And did you spend all your life here until you moved to Leesburg?
Yes, sir.
And what high school did you go to, Mr. Howard?
Clark Central.
And when did you graduate from Clark Central?
95.
And after you graduated from Clark Central, did you attend college at all, Lakewood?
Gainesville Community College and Oakwood.
And did you ever finish it off?
No, sir.
Okay. And you indicated that Then you were pretty close to finishing, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And what took you basically from finishing college and what were you doing?
I wanted to work, wanted to make money, so I decided to take a semester off. Like a lot of stupid college students, I hate to go back, and I regret it, but I'm still owner of my own business now.
Yes, sir. And what kind of work were you doing?
Always in the automotive, always detailing cars, jets, boats, different vehicles along that line.
Now, you graduated from high school in 1995. How long had you actually been doing that detailing business?
Since about 88 to 89, when my mother told me to get outside and work and make my own money.
And,
I started washing cars in the neighborhood.
And that led to other matters and the detailing business?
Yes, sir. Once I became old enough to drive, that's when I started to work at a shop where I could drive cars.
Now, regarding Ray, did you know him before his death, sir?
Yes, sir.
How did you get to know him initially?
He was friends with some of my friends that were younger, and so we were introduced. He lived on the same side of town where I grew up and where I was from. So.
Now, let me go back to December the 28th, 2010. You recall that being the date of his death?
Yes, sir.
And were you working on that day?
Yes, sir.
Where were you working?
Monroe, Georgia. We had a car wash there. I was a general manager. I ran that wash. We had 2 facilities at that time, working on the 3rd, and that was my office, was Monroe.
And when did you generally work over there at that business in Monroe at that time?
5 days a week, every day, but every day but Wednesday and Sunday, from 7:30, 7:45 till 7 or 8 o'clock at night, 12-hour shifts.
And did you actually work on that day?
Yes, sir.
And after working, can you tell us what you did after you left work in Monroe?
After we closed down, I was getting ready to leave. I sent Omari a text to ask him if I could get some marijuana from him. And on my way home, we continued to text to let him know about, I was on my way. And that's it.
And so did y'all have a number of texts back and forth?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A few texts back and forth. I'm on my way. I'm at home. Meet me here. So on. So.
Did you know where he lived?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And was that off Nottingham Drive there?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell us basically as you got to Athens here, basically what happened, if you will, and tell us about the text.
I just texted him to let him know I was coming down the road. As soon as I got off of the 78 bypass and turned on to Hawthorne, I came right on up, and it's right before I turned on to Nottingham. I just sent him a text to let him know I'm here. I know I was, a quarter of a mile away, but by the time he got the text, I would have been pulling in his driveway.
When you said you were texting him, did he respond to you at all?
Yes, sir. It was give and take, just lining it up so that way I could pull right on in, see him, and then leave.
And prior to you actually texting him saying that you're here, when was the last time you got a text from him? How long before? Do you remember?
Oh, it was, I would text him, and then like a minute later he would send a text back, and just like I said, as I was driving down the road.
But just before that text that you sent to him saying, I'm here, when you turned off Oglethorpe onto Nottingham, prior to that, when was the last text you received? A few minutes before. And sir, after texting him saying, I'm here, as you turned on to Nottingham, where did you go?
Straight to his house.
And when you got to his house, what did you do?
I pulled in, parked, sat there and waited on him. It usually wasn't a long wait. He would know I was coming, so he would come on out, give me my marijuana, and I would leave.
Did he come out at all?
No, sir.
And what did you do at that time?
I sat there for a few minutes. As I pulled up, I turned my lights off as I was pulling in. The garage or the garage light, the motion light was on. Didn't really think too much about it. Sat there, was playing solitaire. A little bit of time went by. I wasn't keeping track as far as was it 30 seconds or was it a minute. I don't know. And I never saw him. And a police officer rode by. I seen his mother looking out the blinds. I seen some neighbor activity, which was kind of weird because it was a cold night. And it was, 8:30 at night. That cold night, that time of night, usually you wouldn't have people out like that. And so it kind of stood out, like it didn't seem right. And when the officer rode by, he rode by at a real slow pace, not a patrol pace, not a something just happened pace. And I just thought that was kind of weird. So after he passed, I got out of the car and walked up to the door and knocked on the door.
Prior to that, did you try to text him again or call him at all from the driveway?
Yes, sir. I texted him and I called him. And the first text, I waited, about a minute, called him, and it went straight to voicemail. And I started to think something's just not right. This isn't like him.
And, sir, you said then you got out and went where?
Went straight to the door, knocked on the door. I had seen his mother move the blinds a couple of times, which she knew me and knew my car. Something it wasn't right. So he was welcome in my house. I was welcome in his house. So I went and knocked on the door. And she came to the door and said that he was outside. And I looked around and I've been sitting here for a few minutes. He's not out here. That's when she said, well, I thought I heard somebody banging. I heard some loud noises, and I just kind of looked around. And at that time, she came on out. We seen the neighbor that lived next door. He was walking through his front yard towards her house, and we kind of met him at the fence. And that's when he said gunshots, and it just you're trying to process what's going on in your head, and I still didn't want to believe that it was gunfire. And then that's when we noticed him laying on the other side of the SUV in the dark. The SUV blocked the light, so you couldn't really see on the side of the house where he was laying.
And when you saw that, what did you do?
Ran up. It was dark. He was wearing dark clothes. Just want to see what happened. I'm sorry. He was laying face down. I didn't believe it was him. I really, looking at him, it wasn't him. I was telling myself it was just not him. And the officer had turned around and came back and started yelling for him to come over, help. And the officer ran over there and went to flip him over. And it's basically like confirmation when I could see his whole face. And I just grabbed his mother. I didn't want his mother to see that, and I just pushed her in the house. I don't know why. I just grabbed her and I didn't want her to see that. And as they turned him over, that's when we saw it was him. And I pushed her in the house, and it was only a few feet where he was, and the officer was doing everything he could to save him. And I just started, yelling, what happened? What happened, Marty? Who did this to you? He never said anything. He just laid there. Crumpled up. And he was trying to breathe. He was fighting. And he just never said anything. And I stepped back, and that's when I kind of noticed, shell casings laying on the ground. And I turned to the officer and I said, "There's shell casings." And he just looked at me and said, "Just move, get out of here. You're in the crime scene." And it still wouldn't process it. What was going on, was what was happening. And he said, "The paramedics are coming. Don't worry." The paramedics and the officers kept saying, "The ambulance is coming." And I wasn't thinking. I was thinking the paramedics were going to pull right on up and grab him and go. So I hopped in my car, which was parked behind his, and just backed it out of the driveway. Just pulled it out of the way and was just standing there waiting on the paramedics. And this is about it.
And other officers arrived, is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Other officers arrived. The neighborhood, all of a sudden it came alive. Everybody was outside. There was cars riding by. I remember the ambulance having problems coming up the street because there was traffic. This 9 a.m. is a working class neighborhood, and for that time of night to have that kind of traffic, it just was weird.
And after that, did you wind up speaking to an officer and give them your cell phone for them to look at?
Yes, sir. They searched my car. They searched me. Complied with everything they wanted, whatever they needed. Asked me if I'd come back to the police department and talk. I did. Did a gunpowder test on me. I gave them my cell phone. Complete access, whatever they needed.
Sir, if I can, let me show you what's been introduced to station exhibit number 925. And there's a laser pointer in front of you. With the silver button, and it's on that end is where the laser comes out. You recognize that as being the residence of Omar Ray on that date of December 28, 2010?
Yes, sir.
And you see Omar's car in that driveway?
Yes, sir.
Is that where it was parked, sir?
Yes, sir.
Of course, this photo is a daylight photo. It was dark at the time you arrived.
Yes, sir. It was. There was only one light, and it was the carport light above the Explorer right there. There was no lights on this side, no lights in the front. It was pretty dark. And that was a complaint that he had told me the week. It was not long before then, his house had got broken into, and he had complained that it was dark out there and he couldn't really see, that all they had was just that one light right there.
And where did you park, sir?
Right behind his car right here.
Let me show you what's been introduced as station exhibit number 30, sir. You recognize that as a closer view of the carport area?
Yes, sir.
And you see in that photo the approximate area that Mr. Ray was laying in.
Right about in this area right here.
Let me show you what's been introduced as state exhibit number 931. I'll show you the larger view of that first. You recognize that as a close-up of the carport area, sir?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to zoom in. It may not show very well on the overhead, but on your monitor, see on that, basically, the light that you're referring to, that apparently had come on by motion.
Yes, sir.
Where is that, sir?
Right there. but it did, the light only shined on this side. You couldn't see on this side of the vehicle.
When you say this side, was that for the
Neighbor's
door?
house. It shined on the house side, the light did.
Not over there in the direction of Mr. Ray?
No, sir.
That's all I have.
I'm doing this house.
Not bad.
Sir, I noticed, first of all, did you see me?
No, I did not.
I know you just said something about some shell cases, sir. You said that, you said you know some shell cases on the ground.
Yes.
You tell us about them shell cases.
Say what?
The shell cases that you noticed on the ground, could you tell us about them, please, sir?
There were shell cases from a handgun, not a rifle, not a shotgun. I didn't kneel down and look at them. I just looked down and seen them, and that's when the officer told me to get out of there.
I mean, how many shells you think you saw on the ground?
2 or 3.
Did you know the officer told you to get out of there when you told him about them shell cases?
I want to say it was Officer England.
Officer England, sir?
Yes, sir.
Did you see him in the back of them shell cases, sir?
No, he was on the ground trying to save Omar's life.
So you didn't see no additional shell cases out there?
No.
And you didn't personally see Officer England touch no shell cases?
He was on the ground with his hand in Omar's mouth trying to save his life. I didn't see him touching shell cases while I was standing there.
Did you see any other officers touch any shell cases out there?
No.
Okay. Is it true that a couple of officers interviewed you that night, talked to you, a couple of different officers, sir?
Yes, sir.
How many officers talked to you that night, sir?
One was Officer Beavers. The second officer was a detective. I can't remember his name right off. And then there was other uniform officers that were standing there. I got a little emotional and they just came over. You okay? You all right? Of that nature.
So you don't say it was Beavers and who else talked to you, sir?
Beavers and the second detective that took me back to the police department. I can't remember his name right offhand.
Okay, is it true that they took you to the police station? You did a live interview, sir?
Yes, sir.
How long that interview was? Do you remember, sir?
Roughly less than an hour.
Do you know who the officer was who gave you that interview out there, sir?
Yes, sir. Well, that was the second detective. First it was Beavers, and then he passed me off on a second detective that interviewed me. I can't remember his name right offhand.
Was it Officer Smith? Was it possible Officer Smith you talked to, sir?
I don't think so. I can describe this officer to the T. Tall, skinny, with glasses. Really nice officer, but I do not remember his last name was Smith or not.
What did you and that officer talk about?
Why I was there, how long had I known Omari, and if Omari had problems with other people.
Isn't it true that officer asked you about any friends Omari hang with out of Colorado? Y'all talked about some friends out of Colorado?
Yes, he asked me about associates.
Okay, tell us about your associates out of Colorado.
What do you want to know?
What you did that officer?
I told him that he was friends with Jadon Brooks, and that was it.
Okay. Do you recall telling that officer that Omar hanging with some guys that kind of trash got called him.
Kind of trashy?
Yes, sir.
No, I told him that he ran with some scary guys.
Because what you mean by scary? Tell the jury about the scary guy he ran with.
Just drug dealers.
But you said it was scary. What made them scary?
They were drug dealers.
And what else were they?
They were drug dealers.
They said they wasn't. What made them scared of them drugs? They didn't do that to you. Did you see them with guns?
They never had a problem with me.
Okay, you said out of Paulo, right?
Sir?
You said they was out of Paulo, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you tell them that you want to get caught at night with them? Did you call saying you want to get caught at nighttime with the guy like he came with you?
No, I did not recall that.
You don't recall?
No.
Is it possible it's been so long ago you just forgot about it?
A lot of things are possible.
So you can't recall the same officer you talked to?
No, I couldn't recall him, but I can't recall his name.
Is it true that he recorded your statement?
Yes, sir.
He recorded your statement?
Yes, sir.
Y'all was in the front yard or something, right?
Sir?
You was in the front yard with him, somebody said you called with him at the front yard or something, right?
Oh, at the police station.
I'm talking about in the yard. When you were
In
talking.
the yard, I was interviewed by beepers.
Okay.
And it was recorded there. Then I went back to the police department. It was interviewed by a separate officer. It was recorded and video recorded there. And that's where they did the gun powder test.
Okay. You just said that Don Brooks was one of the guys at home with, right?
One of his best friends.
Okay, he one of them guys you call scary drug dealer, right?
Yep.
No further questions, thank you.
Hang on, let's bring up, give you. Amy Orr? Amy Orr. Raise your right hand, please, ma'am. You solemnly swear the testimony about to give the court in this matter, State versus Jamie Donnell Hood, will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
You may be seated, ma'am. Pull up kind of over to your right to the microphone. Speak to the jury when you talk. Okay? Would you tell the jury your name, please, ma'am?
My name is Amy Orr.
And how do you spell your first name for the court reporter?
A-M-I-E.
And how old are you, ma'am?
I am 37.
And what city do you currently live in, ma'am?
I live in Statham.
And how long have you been living in Statham at this time?
3 years.
And who do you live with in Statham at this time, ma'am?
My mother and my 2 children,
And how old are your children at this time?
12 and 4.
Now, prior to living in Statham, where did you live?
At 365 Nottingham Drive, Athens, Georgia.
And how long did you live in Nottingham?
3 years, I believe. Yes.
And what kind of place was that you lived in? Was it an apartment or a house or what?
It was a single dwelling unit with 3 bedrooms.
And did you own it or did you rent it?
We were renting.
When you say we, who is we?
Me and my son's father, Scott's son.
And now, where do you work, ma'am?
I work at FTS USA. We're cable contractors.
And what is that business and what do you do?
I am a payroll administrator. As a cable business, we handle the installation for a cable company.
And how long have you worked for that business under that name or I guess a different name?
8 years.
Okay. And I understand tomorrow is your last day of work there, is that correct?
That's correct.
And where are you going to work after that?
Trinity Telecom.
And what will you be doing for them?
The same.
Now, where did you grow up, ma'am?
Lithonia, Georgia.
And did you go to high school there?
No, I actually went to high school in Lovejoy.
And did you graduate from high school?
Yes, I did.
And when did you graduate?
1996.
And when was it you came to Athens, ma'am?
It was 11 years ago, in 2004.
And what brought you to Athens?
I just moved up here actually, I left my daughter's father and moved up here with my brother.
I see.
It must be nice.
Now, let me go back to December the 28th, 2010. Were you living at 365 Nottingham Drive, ma'am?
Yes, I was.
Let me show you, if I can, a aerial photograph and map. Let me show you, if I will, what's already been entered into evidence in State's Exhibit number 32. And there's a laser pointer that should be there in front of you on the table controller. So you have it up there. And you recognize that area with Hawthorne and Oglethorpe Avenue here in Athens.
Yes.
And you see on there the Nottingham Drive area.
Yes, I do.
And you see approximately where you were living at that time.
10-4. Yes.
Where was that?
How do I look at this one? Right there.
And you see the number that says 360 up there in the top left corner?
Yes, I do.
And your residence was across the street from there?
It was diagonally, yes.
And let me show you State's Exhibit number 36. That being a close-up view. You see where you point where your house was that you were living at 365. Now, ma'am, let me go back, if I can, to December the 28th, 2010. You recall being at home that evening when you heard something sound like shots outside.
Yes, I was at home.
And tell us who was there at the house and what was happening when you heard the shots, please.
Well, I was in the kitchen trying to figure out dinner, and Scott and my 2 kids and my best friend's 2 kids were also there. They were in the back of the house. I was in the kitchen when I heard the first shot.
And where was the kitchen in relation to the front of the house as it faced Nottingham?
It's parallel to the front of the house, so it was just one, it was parallel to the living room, and the living room had a huge bay window that faced towards that house.
And tell us, when you were in the kitchen, do you know about what time it was when you heard that first shot at all, or not?
I don't know the approximate time, but I believe it was sometime in the evening around 6, something like that.
You don't know exactly what time it was?
No.
Okay. And when you were in the kitchen there, can you tell us what it is that you heard? You heard a shot, and then what else did you hear? Just tell us everything you heard and what you did.
Okay, I was in the kitchen and I heard a loud bang, and so I thought, what is that? And then I heard 4 to 5 more consecutive bangs after that. And then I proceeded to cross into the living room to peep out the blind of the huge bay window to see, what the sound was. When I did that, I saw a figure running away, and And so I looked backwards to see from what, and that's when I saw, legs sticking out from a vehicle. Shouted to my best friend's daughter to call 911. And that's the extent of it.
Now let me go back. You said that your children were there, and then there were 2 other children from your best friend.
That's right.
Why were they over there?
Because we would swap nights with our kids so that we could get a break, because kids are hard to deal with all the time. So we would swap turns, and sometimes I would have her kids, and sometimes she would, get mine just on one night, or if we had whatever arrangement we had.
And Scott was home at the time too?
That's correct.
And after hearing that and looking out the blinds, what did you do, man? And seeing what you saw, what did you do?
Well, when I saw someone running away, I immediately wanted to see what it was someone was running from, and I proceeded to try to go outside the house where Scott would not allow me to, so we just had to stand there and wait, basically.
Did anybody call at all or make a call at all at that time?
Yes, as soon as I saw, I shouted for her to call 911, and she did, immediately.
And that was one of the older children?
That's correct.
Okay. And what was her name?
Zoe.
And ma'am, with State's exhibit number 36, can you show us on that diagram about where your bay window was that you looked out, if you recall?
That's the living room. Right there.
Ma'am, let me show you what's been introduced in State's Exhibit 925. You recognize what that is a photograph of, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
That would be the house that was across the street from me.
And that's probably a different view than what you had, but do you see there about where it is that you saw the individual running when you first saw him?
Yes.
Can you show us that?
This way. From this point that way, towards the front part of the houses, out of the street line.
At the time you saw them, you see in this photograph a car in this fence area here. Did that person appear to be outside the fence at the time they were running?
Yes, they were outside the fence at the time they were running.
And as you faced that particular house from your bay window there, were they running left to right or right to left?
From where I was facing, they ran this way, which would be my right.
So they're running left to right?
No.
And how close to the houses were they running, or did they go out further toward the street at all, or do you know?
I do know the yards were lit up halfway by the street lights, and they ran towards the back where the street light didn't, light the yard. So they ran close up towards the house in the shadow.
And could you tell anything about that person, whether they were a man or a woman at the time?
It could have been just a dark, shadowy shade.
Could you tell what it looked like they were wearing at all?
It did seem hooded.
And from your vantage point, did you lose sight of it at some point, or
Yes.
what happened?
I watched as far as I could from the window and then immediately looked back. It wasn't that far that I could see. I couldn't see much further past the neighbor's house there.
And let me go back, when you said you were in the kitchen, you heard some boom sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you heard other sounds, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the boom sound, did it appear to be just those other sounds, did they come consecutively after the boom sound, or was there some break in time between the boom sound and the other sound?
It was like boom. Boom, 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 boom. Like that.
And what did that sound like to you, ma'am?
Yeah, like firecrackers or a gunshot. The first one I thought, and then I'm like, wait, what is that? So I go see.
After you heard the other sound.
Mm-hmm.
And Now, during that time now, this happened December 28th.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall the Christmas before that, December 25th, 2010?
Yes, it was my son's first Christmas, and it snowed on the way back.
And where were you on the way back from?
We were in Jonesboro visiting Scott Sutton's mother.
And you recall it snowing on the way back from Jonesboro?
Into Athens, yes.
And was it snowing in Athens when you got here?
Yes.
And did the snow stay on the ground for a little bit?
Yes, and then it snowed not too long after that, shortly after that again.
Was that after the first of the year, or do you know?
It was after the first of the year.
And it snowed here in the Athens area as well?
Yes, yeah, there were icicles all along the roof of my house, and we made like 2 miniature snowmen in the front of our yard.
Ma'am, did you stay in your house that night?
Yes.
Did you see the police and ambulance and everything arrive? You gotta say yes.
Oh, sorry, yes, I did.
And did you wind up ever speaking to someone? Did someone come and speak to you at some point that evening?
Eventually, after we went to sleep, someone did knock on the door, and we came out, and then that's when they asked us questions.
Thank you.
Very close. No question.
Yes. Scott Sutton. You raise your right hand, please, sir. You solemnly swear the testimony about to give the court in this matter of State versus Jamie Donnell Hood will be the truth, the whole truth, number 2, so help you God.
I do.
Have a seat, please, and sitting there, you got to face the jury, and tell the jury your name, please.
My name's Scott Sutton,
And how old are you, Mr. Sutton?
39,
And what city do you live in now?
Watkinsville,
And how long have you been living in Watkinsville?
almost 2 years.
And prior to living in Watkinsville, where did you live?
Athens,
And what was your address, please?
365 Nottingham Drive.
And who did you live there with?
Amy Orr,
And who is Amy Orr?
she's my ex-girlfriend.
And is she the mother of your child?
Yes, sir.
And that place at 365 Nottingham Drive, was that a house that y'all were living in?
Yes, sir.
Did y'all rent it or own it?
That's brilliant.
Pull it back just a little bit. Slide up a little closer, please. Thank you.
Where did you grow up, sir?
Jonesboro,
And where are you working at this time, sir?
auto tech supply.
And is that here in Athens?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been working there?
Almost 3 years.
Let me go back to December the 28th, 2010. You living over there with Miss Orr, and on that particular day at 365 Nottingham Drive. Is that correct? You got to say yes or no.
Yes.
In that particular evening at all, do you recall being home when you heard some sounds that sounded like shots being fired or something to that effect?
Yes, I was home.
And tell us, before that happened, what were you doing and what was happening? Who was there?
No, I was watching TV, and I had some kids over there having a sleepover and everything, so I was just there with the kids.
And what do you recall happening, sir?
I thought I heard some gunshots or fireworks or something outside, and my main concern was to get the kids and make sure they were okay if it was gunshots. And I put them all, away from the doors and windows, and pretty much just hung out with them.
And tell us about what you thought you heard were gunshots. What did that sound like, and about how many do you recall hearing it on?
4 or 5 pops, That's about it.
Now, After that, what did Amy do? Do you recall?
She probably was getting on the phone and calling 911, I think, something like that.
Now, let me go back to that particular time period, sir, particularly around Christmas. Do you recall it snowing at that time?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember it snowing after December 28, 2010 as well?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Sir.
Any questions?
Ryan Borders. Ryan Borders. Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give the court in this matter of State versus Jamie Donnell Hood will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Proceed, please, sir. Tell the jury your name, please, sir.
Brian Borders.
And Ms. Borders, are you employed at this time?
I am.
Where are you employed?
I own a residential commercial glass business, Georgia Glass Company,
And where is that business stationed out of?
Watkinsville, Georgia.
And how long have you been in business with that company?
Roughly 20 years.
And that business, what do y'all do?
I do commercial storefronts, residential mirrors, shower doors, pretty much any type of glass, except for automotive.
At some point during that 20 years that you've been working and owning that business, Georgia Glass Company, did you also work with the Athens Clark County Police Department?
Yes, sir. In 2008, the business got really slow, and I became employed with Athens Clark County in 2009, July 2009.
And were you a uniform patrol officer with Athens Clark County?
Yes, sir, on the west side of town.
And were you a certified law enforcement officer for them?
Yes, sir.
And you worked from 2008 or 9 up until when?
March of 2015.
Just this year.
Yes, sir.
And why did you leave them?
My employment picked back up and family reasons.
Okay. Now, during that time with Athens Clark County Police Department, during the time you were there, were you on uniform patrol pretty much the whole time?
Yes, sir.
Did you have different shifts that you worked?
I did. I started out in July of 09 on Evenings West, which was from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night, and worked there for approximately 2 years. And then for the next 4 years, I worked on the morning shift from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. on the west side of town also.
Well, let me direct your attention back to December the 28th, 2010. At that particular time and day, did you work?
Yes, sir.
And what shift were you working on that day, sir?
2 p.m. to 10 p.m.
And was that on that west side?
Yes, sir.
And at some time around 8:30, did you receive a call about a shooting that occurred over the Nottingham Drive area?
Yes, sir.
Did you recall where you were at that time that you heard that call go out?
I do. I was parked at the YMCA located on Hawthorne Avenue, which backs up to the Nottingham subdivision.
And while you were parked there, did you actually hear anything at all while you were parked there or not?
Yeah, I was sitting with another officer, Officer England, and we heard approximately 4 to 5 shots, what we thought were shots at that time.
And after that, hearing the shots, did y'all react at that time, or did you shortly thereafter receive the call?
Just shortly after, we were dispatched to the Nottingham area for shots fired in the area.
And after being dispatched, did both of y'all proceed to that area?
Yes, sir.
And tell us how it is that you got there, if you will, and what you do.
I left the YMCA, took a right onto Hawthorne, took a right onto Oglethorpe. I turned into the first Nottingham entrance if you're going from Hawthorne towards the Loop. on Oglethorpe, there's two different entrances. I turned in on the first entrance and proceeded around Nottingham towards the other side. It just does a loop back into Oglethorpe Avenue. As I was going around, there was several people standing out on the porches, didn't really see anything. Officer England was coming in from the second entrance. He came around, we met up somewhere around 365 Nottingham, I believe was the location where we met up. He advised he didn't see anything. He was going to go back out of the neighborhood and go down towards Oglethorpe Elementary School. I proceeded around. Just before I got to 360 Nottingham, I was flagged down by a resident that said there was somebody laying beside 360 Nottingham. Looked like they had been shot.
And following that, what did you do?
I exited my patrol car and I went up and I did observe a black male laying beside the carport of 360 Nottingham Drive. Did see a big pool of blood beside him and what appeared to be several gunshot wounds. Radioed for Officer England to come back to the scene and radioed for EMS as well.
And as far as the individuals that you saw there beside the carport area, what did you do? What happened?
Once Officer England arrived, we began to try to administer some first aid. We rolled him over onto his back, and he was gasping for air. We used a tongue depressor to kind of hold his mouth open where he could get some air until EMS arrived. Once EMS arrived at the scene, we turned him over to EMS and started trying to go around and gather any information for if anyone had seen anything or heard anything.
Now, at some point, maybe while you were there, after you turned over to EMS, or maybe before EMS arrived, or afterwards, did you see any kind of showcasing anything there on the ground?
Yes, sir. There was a couple of shell casings we marked with notebook paper. I think it was just paper from our memo pad, whatever we had.
Pocket memo pad?
Yes, sir. We marked those shell casings and left them where they were for CID and forensics.
Was that before or after Mr. Ray had been transported?
I do not recall if it was before or after.
And what else did you do there at the scene, sir?
We just secured the scene, and I spoke to a neighbor, the neighbor that lived next to 360, Mr. Barnett. He advised that he heard 5 gunshots and that he observed a dark figure. He couldn't describe male, female, or anything, but he said he saw him running down the driveway towards Nottingham Drive. I also spoke to a neighbor on across the street. I think her name was Miss Orr, Amy Orr. She advised that she heard 5 shots and that she saw a black male in a dark colored hoodie running in the same direction that Mr. Barnett described, but she didn't see a vehicle. She couldn't describe height, weight, anything of the male that was running.
Let me show you, sir, if I can, what's been introduced already is State's Exhibit number 32. Do you recognize that particular area? There's a laser pointer in front of you.
Yes, sir.
It's very and you see, recognize that area is the Hawthorne and Oglethorpe Avenue
Yes, sir.
section there. And you see the Nottingham Drive horseshoe that's in that diagram.
I do.
And can you tell us, if you will, you see in there the approximate area that you were parked at the time you heard the shots and then got dispatched?
At the time I heard the shots, I was parked at I was parked at the YMCA on Hawthorne Avenue. which I guess this is YMCA.
And that green one is the building there.
Yes,
And right in here is the parking lot area apparently.
that's correct.
And that's where both you and Officer England were parked.
That's correct.
And show us, if you will, after you got dispatched, which way did you travel?
I came out of the YMCA and turned onto Oglethorpe here and entered the Nottingham subdivision right here.
And Officer England, which way did he go? Did he follow you or did he go take a different direction?
He came the same way, except he entered the Nottingham Drive area on this side.
And where do you recall meeting? You said 365.
Yeah, which was probably somewhere right in here, just up the road from 360.
And after seeing him not does anything, basically what happened, y'all?
We separated. He went back around the Nottingham Drive area this way and was going to proceed up and go down towards Oglethorpe Elementary School. I proceeded around Nottingham this way and was just planning on coming out on this side. And I was flagged down by the neighbor, or by an individual here, saying that there was somebody laying beside 360.
And 360 is where this happened.
That's correct.
Let me show you State's Exhibit 925, sir. You recognize that as being a photo, a daylight photo of that 360 Nottingham Drive address.
Yes, sir.
State's Exhibit 928. You see in that area approximately where you saw the person turned out to be Mr. Ray was laying.
Yes, sir. He was just outside the carport area out here.
Let me show you State's Exhibit number 930. You see in that area, sir, where it was that you saw him laying at the time that you arrived.
It's probably right around in this area.
That's all I have of, let me add, that's all I have of this, off the board.
That's on this board. All right, sir. Could you tell us what the scene looked like when you first arrived in, sir, please?
When I arrived at the scene,
Yeah, when you arrived at the house, when you heard, I think you stated that you heard some gunshots, that you come on the scene. What was it like when you got on the scene? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you see any cars when you were riding around?
no, sir.
Okay, did you? Like you look at defendant exhibit 1, sir. Did you see this car?
I do not recall the car.
Okay, do you recall anybody you talked to, any witness said they saw this particular car on that scene that night?
I do not.
Now, sir, when you arrived on the scene with Mr. Ray, when you actually got in the yard, can you tell us what that was like, sir?
There was, I think there was one male standing in the yard when I got there, and the guy that pointed out, where I don't remember who pointed out, the neighbor I think it was, that pointed out that there was somebody laying beside the house.
Okay, sir. Did you state anything about some shell cases, sir?
There was a couple shell casings under the carport. I think one was, and I think the other one was found in the driveway.
How many did you find? I mean, how many did you see personally yourself, sir?
2, I believe.
There's two of them. I know you said something about forensic, if you put some cardboard, tablet paper down or something, what was that?
That's right. Just to mark where the shell cases were.
What was your involvement with them shell cases at that point?
Nothing.
That was it.
That was it.
How long you been an officer at Buck County Sheriff?
Right at 6 years.
That's it. Did you talk to any other officers that night about the shell case, sir?
No, sir.
Did anybody identify James Wood as the person they saw on the scene that night? Did they tell you knowledge, sir?
No, sir.
No further questions, sir. Pretty right?
They got an EDT.
No.
Thank you.
Recess.